A blonde goes into a worldwide message center to send a message to her mother in Poland. When the man tells her it will be $100, she exclaims, "I don't have any money, but I would do anything to get a message to my mother in Poland." To that, the man asks, "Anything?" And the blonde says, "Yes, anything." With that, the man says, "Follow me." He walks into the next room and tells her, "Come in and close the door." She does. He then says, "Get on your knees." She does. He then says, "Take down my zipper." She does. He then says, "Go ahead, take it out." With that, she takes it out and takes hold of it with both hands. The man then says, "Well, go ahead." She brings her mouth closer to it, and while holding it close to her lips, she says, "Hello, Mom?" Adam was talking to his friend at the bar, and he said, "I don't know what to get my wife for her birthday. She has everything, and besides, she can afford to buy anything she wants. So I'm stuck." His friend said, "I have an idea. Why don't you make up a certificate saying she can have 60 minutes of great sex, any way she wants it? She'll probably be thrilled." Adam decided to his friend's advice. The next day at the bar, his friend said, "Well, did you take my suggestion?" "Yes, I did," Adam replied. "Did she like it?" "Oh, yes. She jumped up, thanked me, kissed me on the forehead, and ran out the door, yelling, 'I'll be back in an hour.'" A woman and a baby were in the doctor's examining room, waiting for the doctor to come in. The doctor arrived, examined the baby, checked his weight, and found it somewhat below normal. The doctor asked if the baby was breastfed or bottle-fed. "Breastfed," the woman replied. "Well, strip down to your waist," the doctor asked. She did. He pressed, kneaded, rolled, cupped, and pinched both breasts in a detailed, rigorously thorough examination. Motioning for her to get dressed, he said, "No wonder this baby is underweight. You don't have any milk." "I know," she said. "I'm his grandmother, but I'm glad I came." A woman went to a pet shop and immediately spotted a large, beautiful parrot. There was a sign on the cage that read $50. "Why so little?" she asked the pet store owner. The owner looked at her and said, "Look, I should tell you first that this bird used to live in a house of prostitution, and sometimes he says some pretty vulgar stuff." The woman thought about this, but decided she had to have the bird anyway. She took it home and hung the bird's cage up in her living room and waited for it to say something. The bird carefully looked around the room. Then it looked at her and said, "New house, new madam." The woman was a bit shocked at the implication, but then thought, that's not so bad. When her two teenage daughters returned from school, the parrot looked at both of them and said, "New house, new madam, new hookers." The girls were at first a bit offended, but then began to laugh about the whole situation. She then began to think about how to explain this to Steve, her husband. Moments later, the woman's husband came home from work. Before he had time to close the door, the bird took one look at him and said, "Hi, Steve." Two old friends were just about to tee off at the first hole of their local golf course when a chap carrying a golf bag called out to them, "Do you mind if I join you? My partner didn't turn up." "Sure," they said. "You're welcome." So they started playing and enjoyed the game and the company of the newcomer. Partway around the course, one of the friends asked the newcomer, "What do you do for a living?" "I'm a hitman," was the reply. "You're joking," was the response. "No, I'm not," he said, reaching into his golf bag and pulling out a beautiful Martini sniper's rifle with a large telescopic sight. "Here are my tools." "That's a beautiful telescopic sight," said the other friend. "Can I take a look? I think I might be able to see my house from here." So he picked up the rifle and looked through the sight in the direction of his house. "Yeah, I can see my house all right. This sight is fantastic. I can see right in the window. Wow, I can see my wife in the bedroom. Haha, I can see she's naked. What's that? Wait a minute, that's my neighbor in there with her. He's naked as well? He turned to the hitman. How much do you charge for a hit? I do a flat rate. For you, $1,000 every time I pull the trigger. Can you do 2 for me now? Sure, what do you want? First, shoot my wife. She's always been mouthy, so shoot her in the mouth. Then the neighbor. He's a mate of mine, a bit of a lad, so just shoot his dick off to teach him a lesson. The hitman took the rifle and took aim, standing perfectly still for a few minutes. Are you going to do it or not? Said the friend impatiently. Just wait a moment. Be patient, said the hitman calmly. I think I can save you $1,000 here. Some of the finest double entendres on British TV and radio. Michael Burke, on watching Philippa Forrester cuddle up to a male astronomer for warmth during BBC's UK eclipse coverage, remarked, "They seem cold out there. They're rubbing each other, and he's only come in his shorts." Ken Brown, commentating on golfer Nick Faldo and his caddy Fanny Sunnison lining up shots at the Scottish Open. Some weeks Nick likes to use Fanny, other weeks he prefers to do it by himself. Mike Hallett, discussing missed snooker shots on Sky Sports. Stephen Hendry jumps on Steve Davis's misses every chance he gets. Jack Bernicle was talking about Colin Edwards' tyre choice on World Superbike racing. Colin had a hard-on in practice earlier, and I bet he wished he had a hard-on now. Chris Tarrant discussing the first millionaire winner, Judith Keppel, on This Morning. She was practicing fastest finger first by herself in bed last night. Winning Post's Stuart Machine commentating on jockey Tony McCoy's formidable lead. Tony has a quick look between his legs and likes what he sees. Ross King discussing relays with champion runner Phil Redmond. Well, Phil, tell us about your amazing third leg. Cricketer Neil Fairbrother hit a single during a Durham-Voter of Lancashire match, inspiring Bobby Simpson to observe. With his lovely soft hands, he just tossed it off. Claire Frisbee, talking about a jumbo hot dog on Look North, said, "There's nothing like a big hot sausage inside you on a cold night like this." James Allen, interviewing Ralph Schumacher at a Grand Prix, asked, "What does it feel like being rammed up the backside by Barrichello?" Steve Ryder, covering the US Masters, Ballesteros felt much better today after a 69. The new stand at Doncaster Racecourse took Bro Scott's breath away. "My word," he said. "Look at that magnificent erection." Willie Carson was telling Claire Balding how jockeys prepare for a big race when he said, "They usually have 4 or 5 dreams a night about coming from different positions." Carenza Lewis, about finding food in the Middle Ages on time, Team Live said, "You'd eat beaver if you could get it." A female news anchor, who, the day after it was supposed to have snowed and didn't, turned to the weatherman and asked, "So, Bob, where's that 8 inches you promised me last night?" My friends, if you want to watch other funny jokes, subscribe to the channel.